online? Are we online? We online. We online. Is we online? Is we online? Yeah, we think we online. I think we online. Think we online. Make sure the mic's right. Make sure the mic right. Mic right. Mic. Mic is good. Mic is good. What's going on, guys? We back at the alien hour. I don't know if I want this light on today. Yeah, y'all can just see right here. There's nothing. Air. Maybe when it gets darker and I can get used to it, I'm gonna have to wear my glasses. What's going on, guys? We back at it again. Another time, another line. Alien hour. Alien hour. Alien hour. We got a lot to get to today. You feel me? So we're gonna go ahead and start on Twitter, aka formerly known as X. This one we have for our first video we have Catherine Fitz. She just revealed that interdimensional beings are pulling the strings in this world. Okay, Catherine. Let's see what Caddy talking about.
Farrell and I did a great 2-hour interview called Who is Mr. Global?
Mm-hmm.
And we went through every different hypotheses.
What do you mean? Can you define Mr. Global?
It's the committee that runs the world. So
Okay.
there's a committee at the top that makes all the big decisions.
Mr. Global.
Farrell and I did a great 2-hour interview called Who is Mr. Global?
Mm-hmm.
And we went through every different hypotheses.
What do you mean? Can you define Mr. Global?
It's the committee that runs the world. So
Okay.
there's a committee at the top that makes all the big decisions. And my nickname for it is Mr. Global.
Mr. Global.
So the question is, who is Mr. Global and why is Mr. Global doing what he's doing? Because
Who is Mr. Global?
when I look at a situation, I like to put myself in somebody else's shoes. Like if I was Danny and I was doing this, what would it look like from my point of view? And so I want to put myself in Mr.
Yeah.
Why is Mr. Global doing this?
Yeah.
What's Mr. Global's point of view? So anyway, Joseph and I went through and did who is Mr. Global and why is he doing what he's doing? So we went through all the theories, but some of my favorite comments on the internet is they'll say, well, she worked at the White House and she knows, so she's not telling us. It's like, no, everybody at the White House is not sure.
Who's your best guess of who Mr. Global is?
Who's Mr. Global, Catherine?
I think you have intergenerational pools of capital, and right now they are over influenced by occult.
Occult.
Yes. So I think you have interdimensional intelligence.
Interdimensional intelligence. Okay. Catherine dropping some gems. Imagine that. I mean, I can imagine it. I can actually think it's true, actually. But interdimensional politics, wow. That's interesting.
Which is operating demonic intelligence.
Interdimensional demonic intelligence.
Interdimensional demonic intelligence is crazy. But not too crazy.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So I think this thing about good and evil is real. And I can't find it anymore. I found it once. There were in the 30s, a British physicist got up and said, we are being
Clip that.
manipulated, but from other dimensions by intelligent beings from other dimensions. So I think, if you study Christianity and you read the Bible, you're dealing with both divine intelligence and demonic intelligence. And I think too much of the leadership has gotten deeply involved in the occult and demonic kinds of intelligence.
Wow. Damn. That's all I can say is damn. Feel like she broke that down to the T. The E-T. No. But nah, that's actually pretty damn good. That's actually a pretty good hypothesis. I wouldn't put it past for nothing.
Wow.
So I just read a book and I have no idea. So I've tried to find every theory to explain the paranormal stuff. So I'm not telling you this is true, but I just finished reading a book called Final Event by Nick Redfern. I don't know if you've ever read it. And he describes it's a exploration of a group of military intelligence in the United States called the Collins Elite.
Oh, yeah. I've heard about the Collins Elite. Yeah.
The Collins Elite. Oh, hold on. Oh, look at the Collins Elite. Let me see how they spell that.
In the United States called the Collins Elite.
The Collins Elite. We're gonna watch this one afterward. I almost played it.
Oh, yeah. I've heard about the Collins Elite. Yeah.
And they came to believe that the ET phenomena was a demonic phenomena. It was not people from another planet. It was demonic intelligence.
Was biblical.
What? That's how they covered it up. They said, they're not aliens. They're not starving people. Those are demons. I don't care what you say. There's no such thing as aliens. There's no such thing as extraterrestrial beings. That's what they wanted you to believe? That's what they wanted us to believe? Really? I mean, we didn't believe that either way. But that's what they want us to think? That it was just demons? That's crazy. That's probably why a lot of them be trying to contact us. Like I said yesterday, not all of them are good. But the ones probably who are good are trying to contact us to let us know, like, yo, we ain't on that time, bro. You've been brainwashed, dead ass, all the way brainwashed. Look at Danny's face. Yeah, Danny. Yeah, I understand.
Stuff.
Right. And one of the things he discovered was that, or the Collins Elite apparently discovered, is in many sort of ET abduction events, if you called on Jesus Christ, it would stop.
What?
Yeah. That's what he reported. And he strikes me, I don't know anything about him, but it struck me as someone who was trying to do a faithful job of simply reporting what they found.
There's
This is crazy interesting at the same time. So imagine you getting contacted by, extraterrestrial being, and you just pray to Jesus. So the UFO just goes away. That's I don't know how to explain that. But it's definitely like on some, like a trigger word when you're telling the ETs, like, yo, Jesus, in the name of Jesus, amen. Like, what? Or like, it's a lot to take in. It's a lot to take in. I'm rambling right now, but I'm just trying to comprehend all this. I'm open-minded to it, but I'm like, the structure of the interdimensional demonic politics is a lot to take in. Like, damn, what if it really was structured like that? I wouldn't put it past shit, though. I wouldn't put it past no one.
A lot of folks in the intelligence community that publicly state how they believe that the whole UFO phenomena is like this biblical thing. How it's angels and demons, and these things can be angelic entities, and like literal, like ground, like legitimate people in the intelligence community, whether they're still active or retired or whatever, that have been on podcasts that state they believe this.
So I am sure that all of that stuff is happening. So I think we are dealing with demonic and angelic forces in our world, and that's interdimensional intelligence. So the Bible calls it, demons and angels. Other people call it fifth dimension or whatever, but I think we're absolutely
on fifth dimension.
And I will tell you what I think is the most important thing to understand about the universe. So write this down. This is my favorite. My favorite new book is A New Science of Heaven by Robert Temple.
Oh, yeah.
99% of the material in the universe is plasma. Our universe is made up of plasma. And I used to hear that David Bohm said this and other physicists as well, but Temple's really documented and nailed it. And I'm sure he's right. Plasma is alive and it's intelligent. And that means life is alive and intelligent.
Plasma or dark matter?
Plasma.
Plasma.
But, let me make it simple.
Did you guys know this whole world was made of plasma? I kind of had an idea. But life is intelligent. She dropping gems.
The universe is alive and intelligent.
Sure.
And we share intelligence with all life.
Okay.
So in the Lord of the Rings, when the trees show up to help, that's real.
Right.
So
Message.
Life is alive. And the notion that you can take digital technology and control it centrally, once you understand that, is so ridiculous. Only a demonic intelligence would come up with that plan.
Huh.
Right?
Have you noticed?
Plan. Only a demonic that is so centrally alive. And the notion that you can take digital technology and control it centrally, once you understand that, is so ridiculous. Only a demonic intelligence would come up with that plan.
Really? Disclosure Day.
Huh.
Right?
Have you noticed this recent phenomena of, and there's been articles written about it, of essentially a lot of big shots in Silicon Valley are mapping Christianity now onto everything that's going on in Silicon Valley. There's a new church in Silicon Valley that everyone's going to. Peter Thiel and the head of this company called Y.
They put a church in Silicon Valley? Ain't that some
Combinator are, Peter Thiel is a, famous billionaire gay Christian. And the guy from Y Combinator is a big devout Christian. And they're holding these big conferences. And, all these folks in Silicon Valley seem to be now converting to Christianity, going to church. And it's just really interesting to me, because Silicon Valley is, historically known for being like anti-religion, right? Like it's not been a typical religious part of the world in history. These people are, a lot of people developing tech and developing, these social media platforms, transhumanism, and
I know nothing about it.
Yeah.
He said, I know nothing about it. He said, I want no parts. I have no interest. I mind my own damn business. That's right, Catherine.
Yeah, there's been a lot of articles. There was an article in the New York Times that came out, I think the New Yorker.
Let's look at who the Collins is. Let's go look at the Collins. The Collins elite.
A shadowy alleged group within the U.S.
The Collins elite.
The Collins elite is a shadowy alleged group within the U.S. government said to have investigated UFO phenomena for decades, concluding that these encounters are not extraterrestrial but demonic in nature.
The Collins elite. They're the ones who told us that aliens don't exist, that they're all demons. Damn you, Colin. Damn you.
Secretive cabal blending
Clips that.
Christian theology with conspiracy has stirred debate among ufologists, researchers, and skeptics alike. Their story is rooted in Cold War paranoia and amplified by and skeptics alike. Their story is rooted in Cold War paranoia and amplified by modern UFO disclosure movements, and it remains a fascinating, if unproven, thread in the tapestry of unexplained phenomena. The Collins elite reportedly emerged in the late 1940s or early 1950s, a period marked by heightened UFO activity following Kenneth Arnold's 1947 flying saucer sighting and the Roswell incident. Comprised of military officers, intelligence agents, scientists, and devout Christians, the group is said to have formed
They had to add the Christians. They just had to add the Christians, huh?
fears that UFOs represented a threat beyond earthly technology.
Who said that? The Christians?
According to Nick Redfern's 2010 book,
Why was he even in the circle? In that case, add the Muslims, add the Buddha, the Christian. What the heck?
Final Events, their initial curiosity about alien visitation shifted as they interpreted sightings through a biblical lens, viewing them as manifestations of fallen angels or demonic entities deceiving humanity. This
Big deceit.
theory gained traction during the Cold War when anxieties about Soviet espionage and nuclear annihilation fueled speculation about otherworldly forces. Their name, Collins Elite, remains a mystery. No official documentation confirms its origin. Some suggest it honors a founding member, while others tie it to Fortean researcher John Keel's influence, though Keel himself never mentioned such a group. At the heart of the Collins Elite's ideology
Know who John Keel is, let me know.
is the rejection of the extraterrestrial hypothesis.
That's who John Keel is.
Group. At the heart of the Collins Elite's ideology is the rejection of the extraterrestrial hypothesis.
At the heart. That was their main purpose. It was like, we don't want them to believe shit. As soon as somebody sees something in the sky, tell them it's an angel. If they see something in the ground, tell them it's a demon. No, no such thing as space. Colin said so. Remember that.
They argue that UFOs and their occupants, often described as gray aliens or other non-human entities, NHEs, are interdimensional beings with malevolent intent. Drawing from Scripture, they see these entities as part of a satanic deception, potentially paving the way for Armageddon. This aligns with their alleged view that alien abductions and cattle mutilations mirror historical accounts of demonic interference, a narrative they claim the government has suppressed to avoid mass panic. Their mission, as described by Redfern and others, was twofold: to study UFO phenomena through a theological framework and to dissuade government agencies from engaging with these entities. They reportedly feared that projects involving psychic research or contact with NHEs, think MK Ultra style experiments or rumored Area 51 tech exchanges, would invite spiritual catastrophe. This
They said no to everything. They said this is the definition of Buck's mind.
concern peaked in the 1990s when they
You will think what we want you to think and you will love it.
allegedly briefed senators and congressmen, urging a hands-off approach to what they saw as a Trojan horse of cosmic proportions. The Collins Elite gained wider attention through Dr. Ray Bosch, a Nebraska-based theologian and ufologist who claimed a 1991 encounter with two Department of Defense physicists. Identifying themselves only as James and Richard, they approached Bosch, an Anglican priest with a deep interest in UFOs, for his theological expertise. In a detailed account shared with Redfern and later revised in a 2020 paper with Linda Moulton Howe,
OG Linda
Bosch described their warning. The government was dabbling in occult-driven projects to contact NHEs, risking a spiritual invasion. They cited classified programs involving
CERN,
psychotronics, and paranormal research, expressing dread that these efforts were opening gateways to entities beyond human control. Boesch, a former MUFON state director and founder of the Fortean Research Center, found their story credible, though he never saw physical evidence like UFO debris. His own research already leaned toward a metaphysical explanation for UFOs, making their claims resonate. This meeting, if true, suggests the Collins Elite operated as a fringe yet influential faction, whispering warnings to those who'd listen. Details of their operations are murky, relying heavily on second-hand accounts. By the 1990s, their numbers reportedly grew, shifting from a loose, official hobby to a more structured entity within the Pentagon's labyrinth. Redfern writes they accessed
became the majority.
Centuries-old demonology texts, producing internal documents.
Demonology text is crazy.
Linking modern ufology to ancient accounts of supernatural beings. Though no such papers have surfaced publicly, they're said to have lobbied policymakers, framing UFOs as a national security and spiritual threat, a stance that contrasts with the nuts and bolts focus of mainstream UAP investigations. In recent years, figures like Luis Elizondo, former head of the Pentagon's AA-Type program, have acknowledged the Collins elite's existence, per ex posts from September 2024. Elizondo's book, Imminent Hints at a Fact...
2024, that's recent, so y'all been acknowledged, Collins. You're full of shit.
Wary of NHE engagement, though he stopped short of endorsing their demonic thesis. This nod from a credible insider,
good job for stopping,
has reignited interest, suggesting they may still linger in government shadows, influencing UAP discourse from behind closed doors. The Collins elite's tale is compelling, but lacks hard proof. No declassified files mention them, and their story hinges on anecdotal testimony from Bosha.
What do you guys think? Do you think the Collins is real? I kind of think it's true. Let me know what we have next. Next we have abductee was told where alien interest was coming from. What's this? An alien abductee was told what their interest, and an alien abductee was told what they're interested in and where they came from. This must be good. It's gonna be good. Let's see.
Reticuli. I was told by the occupants that they consist of a network of these objects that are operating around the world in presently in the continental Western Hemisphere.
What do you say?
I was told by the occupants that they consist of a network of these objects that are operating around the world in presently in the continental Western Hemisphere is the way they worded it. And they're from a cluster of stars 32 light years away area in what we call reticuli. Galaxy.
The Great Zeta Reticuli. How much more proof do you need?
Zeta Reticulum, and that they were stellar astronomers, or that's their whole civilization. That's what they were geared to: stellar astronomy and life and study of life all across galaxies, and that they're a network sent here to initiate what they call direct observances, and they conduct inter-atmospheric flight and direct observance of people. What they do is they examine, they see the geographical spectrum. They examine the experiments that they conduct in what he called reverse osmosis. And
so just like how we knock down their UFOs and spaceship and take their bodies and we do reverse engineering, they asses do the same thing to us. Reverse osmosis. Reverse whatever. They reverse everything with us. They be like, oh, y'all want to take our shit? Fuck around and find out.
Hydrodynamics. They conduct a lot of experiments over water. They conduct experiments over water. They call it reverse osmosis in hydrodynamics. They
Hydrodynamics is crazy.
conduct a lot of experiments over water. They conduct experiments in aeronomy and geodesy.
Oh wow. That's different. Okay. Oh, what's this one right here? A fly. This one. They'll say there's flies on Mars. There's life on Mars. This one. Yeah, there's life on Mars. There's life on Mars, guys. They caught a fly on the rover that was on Mars. Check this out. A fly. Or is the rover still on Earth? They bullshitting. They finessed us. Y'all bitch ass ain't go to Mars, bitch. That bitch on Earth. Clip that. Clip it. That motherfucker ain't go to Earth, nigga. That shit's still on Earth. That motherfucker ain't go to Mars. It's still on Earth. Hell no. What this is right here. Okay, what's next? This is the video surfaced. What's this? This video surfaced online a couple years ago, allegedly filmed by Tomb. This video surfaced online a couple years ago, allegedly filmed by tomb robbers in Egypt to impress a potential buyer. Oh shit! What they do? Oh shit! Uh-oh. I don't think you're supposed to be there, buddy. I really think you're not supposed to be there, pal. It's like that scene from Aladdin when they went through the pyramid mouth, the Sphinx mouth, and touched the gold. Oh, bone gun. Yo, what the? Can we say artifacts? He didn't just find a tomb, he found a whole museum. Well, you tripping, buddy. You need to get your ass up out of there, man. You playing with the wrong one. Goddamn, but it's probably the last video he ever recorded. Anyways, on to the next video, man. What's this one right here? Got an Orby. Got an Orbitches. Whoa. Whoa, what's that? Hold on. That's a good. So a woman zooms in on orb, speaks to it, and it responds when she says, Jesus loves me. What? Wait. Woman zooms in on orb. What's it? The woman zooms in on orb, speaks to it, and the orb responds when she says, Jesus loves me? What? Let's see. That's crazy. What the heck? No, she didn't. What?
See if I can zoom in more. I know I can, but my fingers don't work.
Yo.
Sorry, guys.
No, don't be sorry.
Sorry, guys.
Don't be sorry.
There we go. Let's see if I can zoom in.
That's damn good. That's damn good.
That's kind of cool.
That's kinda cool. Kinda. What the hell? I don't think you comprehend what you're looking at. Kinda.
Can you talk to me? Can you hear me?
She's trying to talk to it for real.
Jesus loves me.
Oh, you made it mad. You made it
You
mad.
know Jesus. You know Jesus. Jesus is awesome, isn't he?
You pissing him off, chill.
Yes, he is. God is good. God is good. God is good.
I mean, God is good, but you telling Jesus, he's saying you're telling Jesus love me. You're looking like, what? What did you say? You pissing me off. You know what? I don't even want to make contact with you no more. Yeah, that's crazy. That's dope though. That's not kind of cool. That's fucking cool. That's dope. All right, on to the next one. Well, this one right here. Saying Nashville. Oh, is it? Okay. This was seen. Why ain't it popping up? Oh, there it goes. This was seen in Nashville. Yeah, this was in Nashville, Tennessee. It was posted on August 23rd, 2026 at 6:48 a.m. Let's see. What was posted? What was this?
I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. That's the skyline over there. I'm going to see if I can film this. It keeps showing up outside. Look at that. Look at that. I'm going to try to zoom in on this. Oh my gosh. Do you see that?
Yo, these are better than the files that have been released by the government. These are way better than the infrared shit.
What the Bro. I've seen it all over TikTok. Now I'm literally seeing them in person. This is right next to Nashville, Tennessee. Right in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. That's the
They're probably trying to help Tennessee out. They said, y'all been too lit over there.
skyline over there. I'm going to see if I can film this. It keeps showing up
Look
outside.
at that one time. Look at that one more time.
Look at that. I'm going to try to zoom in on this. Oh my gosh. Do you see that? What the Bro, I've seen it all over TikTok. Now I'm literally seeing them in person. This is right next to Nashville, Tennessee. Right in Nashville, Tennessee.
Clip that. That's on crazy. Nashville crazy, man. The orbs is going crazy, man. We in disclosure day for real. People doing their own disclosure. Personal disclosure. Alright, we have another one. World News X. Leaked footage of 3i Atlas interacting with the sun. Let's see. 3i Atlas.
What y'all looking at is leaked footage of 3i Atlas discharging some type of blue beam at the sun. Now, it's a wonder why they don't talk about 3i Atlas anymore. Look at this. It is interacting with our sun.
What the?
Like, look at this.
What the? What's going on? What's going on? Now we gotta look at YouTube videos, 3i Atlas. Right here. Let's go right here and see what 3i Atlas is. It says a comment.
Comet that's going through at the moment. We've got this comet, the Atlas 3i comet that's going through at the moment. A fascinating thing that may be what current estimates, maybe 7-8 billion years old. That has come from a distant star system.
Older than our solar system, which is only 4.5 billion.
Formed before the Earth formed.
Mm-hmm.
A number.
That ain't no comet. I think that's a comet. That's a ship. That's star beams. That's what it is. That's come get your ass on. God damn it. Come get your ass on a spaceship before we abduct you. Respectfully. That's what the
unprecedented opportunity to observe material that's coming from a distant star system, and yet you see people going, oh, it's aliens. I think this is what Carl Sagan meant. The reality.
You just said 4 million years. The asteroid. Not saying asteroid wouldn't live 4 million years, but I mean, like, don't piss on our back and tell us it's raining. Come on.
Of it, that this is something that formed before the Earth formed.
Right.
And it is visiting our solar system and going back out into interstellar space. It's been traveling for something like probably about 7 billion years or something like this. Can you imagine if anyone is sat in that
and you missed your exit.
Going, oh, no.
7 billion years.
We'll go around again. We'll make a course correction and go around again. I'm sure it'll be fine. Not much will have changed in 7 billion years. I mean, it's in a hyperbolic orbit, right? It's not, they don't even have the chance to come back.
There are like several categories of orbit.
Mm-hmm.
And one would be a circle.
Right.
But nothing is in a circle because there's always something going on. So most are ellipses.
Right.
And if you keep making the ellipse bigger and bigger,
right,
there's a point where it sort of opens up to the outside and you get a parabola.
Right.
But that's a very specific form of a hyperbola.
Right.
And so hyperbola is just, it comes in and goes out and it never moves
you're
back
not going to
around.
see it again.
Right.
We've got this comet, the Atlas 3i.
So that bitch on a hyperbola. So they say, man, that's just a ship. That is a ship, sir. So they're saying, let's go back to the video. So they're saying this right here is Atlas.
What y'all looking at is leaked footage of 3i Atlas discharging some type of blue beam at the sun. Now, it's a wonder why they don't talk about 3i Atlas anymore.
I thought it was just a comet.
look at this. It is interacting with our sun.
No, it's just a rock. It's just a comet. It wouldn't do that. That's not. It's just a rock, right? It's just a rock. It's not a spaceship. It's not. It's not aliens. It's just a comet. Remember?
Like, look at this.
It's just a comet. It's just a comet. It's not aliens, guys. It's just a comet. It's just a comet. It's just a rock. Guys, it's just a rock. That's all, guys. It's just a rock. Clip that. That's crazy. They're trying to play in our faces, telling us that's just a rock.
What y'all looking at?
It's just a comet. It's just a comet. What this is? Gilgamesh. Okay, let's look at that one. This looks interesting. Video today when the tomb of Gilgamesh was found in Uruk, Iraq. The video was originally recorded by VHS. There is no doubt. Everyone agrees that the video is original. Let's take a look, guys. It's 11 minutes, 28 seconds. Oh. There you go. Gilgamesh tomb believed found. This article came on BBC News Tuesday, 29th April 2003. The epic Gilgamesh, written by Middle Eastern scholar. They found Gilgamesh, the lion slayer, was believed to be 2/3 gods and 1/3 human. So Gilgamesh that nigga was Hercules. Requesting documents pertaining to the resurrection chamber of Gilgamesh, the location of his body, and location of buried Nephilim. Oh shit. (12/13, 2018). The location of the body in the resurrection chamber of Gilgamesh. And also probably the entrance to Agartha as well. One of the entrance probably. We're not going to go in that episode right now. I feel like I remember seeing this video float around, but I don't know if it was that video or another video of a Nephilim or a giant per se. But yeah, it's crazy. That shit dark. The original video was originally recorded by VHS. There is no doubt. Everyone agrees that the video is original. The confidence and the certainty. I love it. that his head right there? Who are those two, man? What did they do? Oh, they're probably the ones who found it. Yo, NJ, what it do? They found the body of Gilgamesh. This is allegedly, they found the tomb of Gilgamesh, the 2/3 god and 1/3 human. All the gold going crazy. Oh shit, that was his body. Whoa, I'm tripping. That was his head. Holy shit. Wait. I'm fucking tripping. They say the best part for like, okay, see the head right there. What the hell? Yeah, the eyes right there. I knew I wasn't tripping. That's the head game. The head of Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh. Okay. A little further, because we've seen this part. That's his body. They preserved the heck out that. Mummification. Buried him with gold. So he has something to go to the next dimension, the higher level with. Touch that if you want to. You got some spirits out your ass, boy. That's Gilgamesh. Allegedly. What the heck? Where you see his head? What the fuck? These have to be the people that found the tomb. They keep going back to it. What if he just woke up like, bruh, why you bothering me, gang? What the heck, bro? Bruh, that shit don't even look like it. He just look like he's sleeping for real. Look, he's showing the head. Showing his jewelry type shit, his arm. It's a Gilgamesh, bro. They had to bury him with all the gold. Look at that crown. If he just wake up and say, That shit would fuck me up, bro. Ooh, ooh, bro, this shit crazy. They just playing around with Gilgamesh body and shit. Okay, we seen that. Seen this. Oh, they showed the leg. They showed the leg. There we go. This right here. They're tall as shit. Did they open his eyes, my nigga? Did they open his eyes? That's kind of scary. They opened his eyes, gang. That's crazy. This is a statue. I think that was a statue, but they found a real tomb. Yeah, I think that was like a statue museum version, but they found a real tomb. Gilgamesh, man. What's next over here? These folks said they saw a being. You can see this one about. I'm skeptical about this one. I don't know for sure, but it said these folks. Jamie Mason, a prominent Mexican UFO personality, even publicly presented the footage as extraordinary evidence. But here's a twist: the alien was reportedly a fake. The video had allegedly been staged by local. Okay, we ain't gonna waste time on that shit. Okay, not that. That's a news article right here. Excuse me. There we go. There we go. Let's look at some news, y'all. See what the news talking about the UFO and aliens. They're ready. Keep telling us every day, like, we're not here alone. I love it. Disclosure Day. Come on. Let's intermingle with the interintellectual.
Ready to receive the truth. The American people are ready to receive the truth.
Yes, we are.
Humanity is not the only intelligence in the universe.
Humanity is not the only intelligent species.
We are absolutely not alone.
We are not alone. We've been trying to tell you guys. Everybody been trying to tell everybody. Nobody knew no more. But everybody know. We all had this idea. It's in the back of our head. Now it's in front of our head. It's actually on the news. You see Laura Trump, I talk about it.
For decades, UFOs or UAPs were largely dismissed as science fiction and conspiracy theory, but not anymore.
Because the Collins.
As you just saw, the Age of Disclosure documentary put extraordinary claims about UAPs back into the spotlight. Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day made a splash at the box office this summer. And now
I've seen this movie twice.
Even Time magazine is putting the mystery front and center, saying America is finally taking extraterrestrials seriously.
Yes, we are. We've been, but yes, we are.
Week, Secretary of State Marco Rubio also weighed in.
I don't know who it is. I don't know what it is, but there are things flying over our military installation and they're not ours. And we should look into this, be serious about it.
So what are we actually seeing in our skies? Well, there's a new UAP Science Advisory Council trying to answer that very question with science. Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb is in charge. And this week, we sat down in his office at Harvard University to separate fact from fiction. For 80 years, people have been so interested in what we used to call UFOs, we now call UAPs.
I really don't want to hear Avi, man. I don't cap. Avi be pissing on our back and telling us it's raining. I'm sorry. Y'all can listen to Avi if y'all want to listen to Avi. I think I seen that video. And I seen that video already. So, yeah. Let me see. Let's see. Because I don't know if I want to get into that one yet. I don't know if I want to... somebody told me in my comments. Somebody told me in my TikTok comments, go check this out. The secret contact with aliens, the Artec U.S. Navy base. You guys familiar with Artec? I'm gonna look at Artec. This is recommended to me by one of my followers.
In the 1960s, the U.S. Navy opened a research base on the Bahamian island of Andros. Using the unique location, its purpose is testing submarines. But in the recent 20 years, the Atlantic Undersea Test and Evaluation Center, OTEC, got in the focus of UFO theories. Is it possible that, similar to the US Air Force's Area 51 in Nevada, the US Navy
I gotta put on the caption, I'm sorry.
has a facility researching on extraterrestrial material, or even has contacts to alien life forms? Nevada. Everyone's heard of Area 51, Groom Lake, Nevada. However, 2,500 miles away, there is an underwater facility that's also highly secretive. Perched on the cusp of the Bermuda Triangle, it's Groom Lake, Nevada.
Wait.
Hi everyone, what's up guys? DozGeek here again with Section 51. Everyone's heard of Area 51, Groom Lake, Nevada. However, 2,500 miles away, there is an underwater facility that's also highly secretive. Perched on the cusp of the Bermuda Triangle, it's called OTEC. The Atlantic Undersea Test and Evaluation Center.
Under the Bermuda Triangle. Of course, yes.
The American Naval Base on the Bahamas island of Andros is a laboratory said to be used by the US Navy for weapons testing and underwater research. The OTEC covers
like the underwater version of Area 51.
Only 1 square mile on land, but actually comprises 1,670 square miles of the surrounding Caribbean. This ocean area is a steep-sided deep-water embayment 100 miles long and 20 miles wide, with depths varying from 700 fathoms at the rim to 1,100 fathoms, more than a mile, at the northern end. By any reckoning, this is a huge amount of underwater space. UFO and USO activity in and around OTEC fuels speculation that the US government is secretly working with extraterrestrials, engineering and testing alien technology. Indeed, since its construction in 1950...
Say what, my nigga? Say what?
Engineering activity in and reckoning, this is a huge amount of underwater space. UFO and USO activity in and around OTEC fuels speculation that the US government is secretly working with extraterrestrials, engineering and testing alien technology.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
Indeed, since its construction in 1959, numerous UFO and USO, or unidentified submerged objects, have been sighted all around OTEC. While it is not unusual for these sightings to occur around US military installations, the frequency of sightings is alarming. To bring further findings to the table, from the installation itself, there are cables that run hundreds of meters along the ocean floor to an area called the tongue of the ocean.
The tongue of the ocean.
This cavern drops to a depth of 2,000 meters in some places. So why are there these cables running down into the depths of the ocean? At this point, we can only speculate.
At 2,000. I thought they had to be damn crushed by then, like the folks in the submarine. How low did they go? They must have went like 10,000 something, because they went 2,000, or they probably just didn't have the right technology.
And the current running theory is that they are communication cables. Communicating to what or who, we just don't know. Other suggestions on this location is that the base itself was built on the site of the lost city of Atlantis. The idea behind these claims is that the base was built on the ruins because of certain energies that the ancient lost city supposedly had. Moreover,
if you know me, guys, I like to rewind.
The idea behind this. Other suggestions on this location is that the base itself was built on the site of the lost city of Atlantis.
That's crazy. That would be crazy, but the lost city of Atlantis wasn't under Antarctica, but then again, polar shift might have moved it. But then again, maybe the Bermuda is all they'll lie. The Atlantis or Gartha. Maybe Atlantis is referring to Gartha. It's all types of theories that can go possible with this.
The idea behind these claims is that the base was built on the ruins because of certain energies that the ancient lost city supposedly had. Moreover, in 1994,
they has found power down there.
Newsweek reported the discovery of a pyramid under the Bermuda Triangle. And not just any pyramid. Sonar tracing mapped the pyramid's outline and showed it rising to a height of some 780 feet from the otherwise flat ocean floor, 1,200 feet below the surface of the Atlantic.
A pyramid underneath the Bermuda Triangle. Did you guys know that? Did you guys know that? I'll be honest. I don't think I knew that. I don't think I know that. It's okay. It's okay not to know, because I didn't know. Clip that. Because this is wild, okay.
The discovery was made and then confirmed by Captain Don Henry, who discovered the puzzling phenomenon while making sonar tracings of the seafloor in an area of the Atlantic between South Bimini Island and the north end of the Cay Sal Bank.
2 huge pyramids found in the Devil's Triangle.
He was staggered when he realized that this undersea pyramid was some 300 feet higher than the Cheops pyramid with a base of 1,000 feet square. Dr. J. Manson Valentine, anthropologist and zoologist, Dr. was staggered when he realized the Atlantic between South Bimini Island and the north end of the Cay Sal Bank. He was staggered when he realized that this undersea pyramid was some 300 feet higher than the Cheops pyramid with a base of 1,000 feet square. Dr.
You have a damn pyramid higher than the pyramid on damn
James
surface.
Valentine, anthropologist and zoologist at the Miami Museum of Science, is convinced and points out that the area where the pyramid is located was once dry sand. The area has long been suggested as the site of Atlantis. The final consideration of this naval base is to think about the fact that the base is built on the edge of the Bermuda Triangle. Countless ships and aircraft have gone missing over the years without a trace, as well as unexplained magnetic anomalies and strange losses of time having been experienced. It is believed by some researchers that it could be the underwater place of transit points for UFOs arriving here from other dimensions. A German historian and scuba diver, Dr. Michael Preisinger, has recorded the exact location and value of deviations in magnetic fields off the Bahamas coast. Scientists to whom he has shown the figures do
Can somebody send a drone down there? Like, not send themselves, but like, have we gotten that advanced where we can send probably like a electronic boat where we can control it remotely and cameras and just send that bitch down there? Yeah. Nobody did that yet? It's probably on YouTube somewhere, but why don't we do that? Like, or some drones, you know? Because I already know this is the entrance to Agartha. This is how you get to Shambhala right here. I know, but like, it would be cool if someone did that though, right? That'd be dope.
not dismiss the possibility that they are caused by micro wormholes. His researches have also led him to wonder whether the American Otech naval base on Andros Island is not perhaps on account of the same wormholes. And he has reached some new conclusions concerning Atlantis and the Bahamas.
I knew that the theory of compass deviations as being caused by stargates went back some way. I was now told that the extremely high incidence of UFO sightings in the Bahamas archipelago had been associated by some researchers with these stargates. Based on the stories I'd heard, I chose more than half a dozen points at which
You know what's crazy? If you ever seen the show Stargate and you look at like the entrance, the portal always does look like a water type of portal motion. I mean, that's probably, I'm going to say the obvious. The Bermuda Triangle is a portal.
to die. Fish Hotel, Lifford Cay, and White Hole, near Nassau. Lost Blue Hole, about an hour by boat from Nassau. Dogleg Reef, an hour by boat from Marathon. In the Florida Keys, the Atlantis Wall, near Bimini. Sunken Train, near Eleuthera. In the waters off Andros Island, strange craft have been seen from time to time which not only resemble UFOs, but which display the same unbelievable swiftness of motion and execute the same incredibly sharp turns. A Viennese businessman told me that, once, when he was yachting off the coast of Andros, he glimpsed, 2 miles away, it was a very clear day, in waters over 1.5 miles deep, a motionless object he thought was a whale. Coming to within almost half a mile of the object, which was now gleaming oddly, the yachter observed that it was some kind of man-made craft of ultra-modern design.
How the hell you get a craft out of whale?
There's also the so-called Bimini Wall, thought by many to be a remnant of Atlantis. I believe that some of the stones making up the wall appear to be man-made, not because they came from Atlantis, but because they were left there during the American Civil War. My attention, though, keeps returning to the underwater stargates of the Caribbean, which I discovered with my friends Al Miller and Joel Green. I continue to wonder what might be the next step in researching these stargates. I have a proposal. It would be interesting to
that right there,
actually try to enter one of these stargates, except that they are usually microscopic to an extreme degree, and they tend to fluctuate in and out of existence.
All of these coincidences and these stories together start to put an interesting...
When you hear somebody say it tends to fluctuate in and out of existence, that's another way it's somebody telling you leave that shit the fuck alone.
Picture on Otech, and for us at least, lead us to believe that there is more going on here that meets the eye.
I used to work at Otech. The Navy uses the area as a place for submarines to test fire torpedoes and to calibrate sonar. During my time there, I had 2 strange experiences. One involved an anomalous radar contact and the other was a sighting of 2 UFOs.
Okay, I don't like the little AI voice type shit. That's cool. But yeah, that's cool. I'll take. I was also recommended this video. This is about a secret space program. The SSP. Yeah, the SSP. Secret Space Program. Another one of my followers recommended me this. Secret Space Program? Let me guess. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of Secret Space Program? Talking about NASA? The hell? Oh, is it NASA? Are we talking about NASA? When you think of the secret space program, what do you think? I think of, I ain't gonna bullshit. I think of they're trying to look for our people. They're making contact with the extraterrestrial beings, and they're keeping it all to themselves. Them and the fucking Collins. I think the Secret Space programs definitely includes the Collins and the Christians. Respectfully, I ain't trying this religion, nothing, but like when you just watch the video about the Collins, that's crazy. That's crazy how they just restrict you. And if you ask questions, you're wrong and you're demonic. That's crazy. That's a whole different agenda. Let's play this though.
Coming up on 1 minute. Mark, T-minus 60 seconds and counting. We are go for Apollo 7 at this time.
Well, when we attempt to decipher something as complex and hidden as the secret space program, we need to look at it from multiple levels and different angles.
Oh, it's complex and hidden. Oh, duh, it's a secret. It's a secret.
What is really crucial for us to have are the kind of experts and investigators that we've assembled here for this unique conference.
So let's ask ourselves the question, why is it that the hydrogen bomb wasn't classified as high as the UFO?
Mars looks like the Earth would look
Clip that.
like after a big nuclear war.
Well, let's ask ourselves the question, why is it that the hydrogen bomb wasn't classified as high as the UFO?
Mars looks like the Earth would look like after a big nuclear war. The good news in this is that we now know that the universe has forces in it capable of doing such things, and we are forewarned.
By the 1890s, you had two secretive groups.
No shit, Sherlock.
Groups that were behind these mystery airships. I think that they are what we call the breakaway civilizations.
I think you have a global Earth faction, and you've got a fascist faction. In the fascist faction, they want to go home.
So again, we have technology that obviously stretched back through all of human history that's being kept from us. Somewhere there is a covert government-sponsored lab, and they are tampering with the basic building blocks of the universe.
To make the jump to this different paradigm, the idea of the ether, of free energy, of space propulsion, faster than light travel, it's such a big jump that you basically have to scrap most of advanced physics.
They're working with extraterrestrials, back engineering their technology, and they want to access zero-point energy. They want to move dimensions, probably already can neutralize gravity underground. They don't want the surface life to know that. Too hard to control, too hard to manage.
Why do you want to control us? Why don't you want us to advance with you guys? No, because if they don't control us, then there's no hierarchy. Shout out to OG Linda. Clip that.
The military-industrial complex has the plan to essentially do what's in Brave New World. It is space-based. I actually have a document from the Army War College where they discuss this, where they will have space-based satellites and so forth that will be tied into the smart grid and all that.
What I want to look at is the space economy. What is the investment in space, and what is it doing to all the other parts of the political and corporate system?
If you don't consider this hidden system of finance, which was
I got the heavy hitters on this,
set up to deal with the UFO, then you're missing over half of the financial picture. So in other words, you're committing a material omission in law.
Okay, so let's talk about legal structures. Two important acts, National Security Act of 1947 and the CIA Act of 1949. Those two laws gave the government the ability to borrow an infinite amount of money globally, okay, and deliver all of that money to private corporations on a 1947. Okay, so let's talk about legal structures. Two important acts, National Security Act of 1947 and the CIA Act of 1949. Those two laws gave the government the ability to borrow an infinite amount of money globally, okay, and deliver all of that money to private corporations on a non-transparent basis to deal with the most powerful, valuable technology in the world. Now, what do you think is going to happen?
Wow. I wish I could float a scam.
Clip that.
Like that. I mean, we're talking big time bullshit.
Hey, we got you. I can see Isley talking there. John, turn your head to the right. There you go.
Let's see some more.
Coming up on 1 minute. Mark, T-minus 60 seconds and counting. We are go for Apollo 7 at...
Secret space program, crazy. Oh, no, that's 28.
When we talk about a speculative secret space program,
What kind of channel you is, brother? I might could get away.
we should establish something clearly. There really was an uncontested, very real, and now declassified secret space program. The US Air Force ran its own classified manned space effort alongside NASA's more public-facing ones. In the 1960s, while the world watched Saturn V rockets,
Are we really surprised? I'd be surprised at some stuff, but this doesn't surprise me at all.
rise under the banner of Apollo, the Air Force was developing the Manned Orbiting Laboratory, a military space station designed for reconnaissance of America's enemies and other orbital operations. 17 military astronauts were selected. A modified Gemini capsule was built. Titan III rockets were assigned. Launches into polar orbit were planned from Vandenberg. And then, in June of 1969, exactly 1 month before the Apollo mission reached the moon for the first time, the Manned Orbiting Laboratory was canceled. Advances in automated spy satellites made human observers redundant. Vietnam was draining resources. The Apollo program was imminent. So the classified space program...
We're going to watch something about Vietnam in a second, too. Because followers told me some stuff. We're going to see something later.
...was folded.
Well, probably after this, yeah.
But in defense culture, cancellation does not necessarily mean disappearance. Programs are restructured. Personnel are reassigned. Infrastructure is absorbed into deeper compartments. So what happened to the military astronaut program? Where did the classified orbital expertise go? And what was really going on with the classified space program? In 1993, former Lockheed Skunk Works director Ben Rich was speaking at a UCLA alumni event. Rich had overseen programs like the U-2, the SR-71, and the F-117, stealth aircraft that had lived in total secrecy before becoming public knowledge. At the end of his presentation, according to multiple attendees, Rich's final slide showed a black disc-shaped craft flying into space. He closed with the famous words, "We now have the technology to take E.T. home." Was he just messing with the audience?
E.T. don't want to go home.
Rich would end up dying just 2 years later, but towards the end of
Because E.T. don't want to go home.
his life, he would privately say things that sounded very similar to this UCLA speech. Things about prodigious American space capabilities the public could barely dream of.
Just before Ben Rich passed away, when I was talking to him, he told me, and this is at the end of a 45-minute conversation, he said, "Jim, we have things out in the desert," and he wasn't referring to Area 51. "We have things out in the desert that is 50 years beyond what you can comprehend." Now, I can comprehend
what do you say?
We have things. He told me, and this is at the end of a 45-minute conversation, He said, Jim, we have things out in the desert, and he wasn't referring to Area 51. We have things out in the desert that is 50 years beyond what you can comprehend. I can comprehend a hell of a lot. And he said, if you see movies like Star Trek or Star Wars, we've been there, done that, or decided it wasn't worth the effort.
Ben Rich's son, Michael Rich, was the president.
Yo, Ben. Shout out Ben Rich, man. Shout out Ben Rich, man. My fault, man. He was just trying to send E.T. home, but E.T. ain't want to go home, my boy.
President and CEO of RAND Corporation for decades. RAND was the Santa Monica-based, federally funded research and development center evaluating the prospects of Project Orion, nuclear pulse propulsion craft that could
Project Orion
theoretically carry very large crews, reach Mars or outer planets, and enable long-duration missions. Not coincidentally, RAND has also conducted comprehensive research on the non-engineering side of deep space travel, crew psychology and isolation, life support logistics, radiation hazards, resupply challenges, cost and national priorities. RAND Corporation also happened to be intensely interested in the gravity-manipulating deep space propulsion work of Townsend Brown.
So they're reverse engineering over there? Man. They going, man. So is Richard's part of the super space program? You know, you're gonna be like, D, are you listening? I am fucking listening. I'm just like, you know.
His work going dark after he showed them a demo in 1967. President Ronald Reagan may have also inadvertently left a hint around secret American space capabilities in his diary entry from June 11, 1985. Lunch was with 5 top space scientists. It was fascinating. Space truly is the last frontier, and some of the developments there in astronomy, etc., are like science fiction, except they are real. I learned that our shuttle capacity is such we could orbit 300 people. You read that right. Not one shuttle crew, not a single mission.
That boy Reagan, as much as shit he was, man, he knew some shit.
300 people in Earth's orbit, in space. If you ask your favorite AI conversation agent, it'll tell you that we only have 10 or so people in space today. But we somehow had the capacity for 300 in the 80s? In 2020, Haim Eshed.
Yeah, that is kind of strange. How we go from 300 to 10? Because they was like, oh, wait. If we take 300, then we won't control 300 people. That's a lot of people not to control. 10 is okay. 10 is all right. Because they say anything, we're just off them.
Former head of Israel's Defense Ministry's Space Directorate, essentially the father of the Israeli space program, publicly claimed that American astronauts and alien representatives were operating on underground bases on Mars. These bizarre hints have stacked up over the decades, and maybe they are mirrored in one of the most famous fictional versions of a secret space force, Stargate. With visible cooperation from the US Air Force, the production of the show Stargate leaned on real-world military structures and culture. In fact, 2 sitting Air Force chiefs of staff, Michael E. Ryan and John P. Jumper, appeared on the show as themselves.
Like, if you're trying to be subliminal, you're doing a bad job.
These guys literally ran the Air Force and were showing up for cameos on this show.
Clip that.
Lead actor on the show, Richard Dean Anderson, was later made an honorary brigadier general in recognition of what the Air Force described as the program's positive portrayal of the service. The show's central premise? A classified off-world program run by the Air Force from a hidden command facility.
Show it.
Of course, the military connection might have just been due to some fans among the Air Force staff. Or maybe it was just another tiny hint towards something really big going on in secret. Strange stories of a parallel space program are apocryphal, but they are more abundant than you might think. like this stunning revelation shared with Ross Coulthart on Chris Ramsey's Area 52.
There was a conversation I had with someone who I trust, who got very emotional and described a friend of his dying on the moon.
Wow.
And
what do you make of that?
I didn't know what to make of it.
It's important.
They never reported that? Nothing. Of course they're not going to report that, but damn. That sucks.
Important to remember that the public didn't even know the NRO, or National Reconnaissance Office, existed for decades. The parallel classified Air Force astronaut program wasn't fully declassified until 2015. So is it so crazy to think we might have experimented with covert human spaceflight and exotic material supply chains since then? The benefits of...
Yo, the secret space program was basically Stargate. Stargate was a show based off the secret space program. Convince me otherwise. That's what I got from this. Good shit, though. Good shit. We got right here. Oh, yeah. So we're going to look at this one now. This is night vision goggles saw predator demons in Vietnam War. So I don't know if you guys remember a couple weeks ago, I was going over the aliens on the stream. You know, different types of aliens that comes from, you know, different planets, per se. And the Predator was one of them. Predator was one of them, along with many others. And when I posted that clip, that it got a lot of feedback. It got a lot of engagement, per se. Now, usually my posts never really got no engagement like that for real. But ever since that, you know, it's been going a little up. But that case, I looked at one of the comments, and two people was talking about how the Vietnam War was allegedly fighting was the predators, not one another. So I'm just doing a little my own digging research, and we're gonna watch this video right here. The night vision goggles saw predator demons. So buckle up, guys. It's about 20 minutes. I'm lit. There we go.
During the Vietnam War, soldiers were given special night vision goggles. But there was more to it. These goggles were said to see a broader color spectrum not visible before. The story goes that soldiers started freaking out or even losing their minds because, horrifyingly, the goggles were able to see demons. After that, night vision goggles were supposedly modified to not show those creatures. But what's the real story?
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry, y'all. Before we play the rest, because the night vision goggles already kind of running. Rodney. Yo, that reminds me of the movie They Live. Y'all remember the movie They Live with the wrestler Ronnie Piper? Oh, y'all gotta look at that. I think it's still free on YouTube.
Is this just an urban legend, a leak about something that actually happened, or a disinformation campaign about advanced military technology? Do special ops use such equipment today? And is there any data we can find about the mysterious happenings in the jungle during the Vietnam War? I'll share my investigative research and tell you why I think the Predator movie was real, and John will share his remote viewing data that you're definitely not going to hear anywhere else. I mean, who else has a team who can peer into the past and report back what they find? Join us for a metaphysical show that's out of this world. But a lot of movies, theory, I have a theory, that I hope this podcast is going to prove, that a lot of movies in the 80s, and not necessarily just the 80s, but a lot of movies were based off of real stories that happened.
Of course.
And got, of course, modified a little bit. But
like what movies?
Oh, man, I can name a bunch. And then not just movies, but series as well.
Right.
So when you think about Close Encounters of the Third Kind, there's been information out for a long time that Steven Spielberg received files and documentation from three-letter agencies that gave him basically the lowdown on that story, and he created a movie out of it.
Well, he also had J. Allen Hynek working on that movie, who was the guy who was running Project Blue Book for the Air Force.
Yeah, and what
I thought, yeah. Oh, wait.
I heard was that if you were to combine the movies of E.T. and Close Encounters of the Third Kind, you'd have basically the whole story. However, E.T.'s finger, in the movie had this like healing ability that they did to kind of appease the whole, like, this is a movie for kids thing. But in reality, the finger was like a death ray. Like whatever it touched, it would kill or like dissolve.
Right.
Which, is that true or not? It's a great story. But if it's true that he received these, however, there's been information out for a long time that Steven Spielberg, and the movie had this like
book for the Air Force.
And what I
had a search of J. Allen Hynek, y'all. Good source.
Heard was that if you were to combine the movies of E.T. and Close Encounters of the Third Kind, you'd have basically the whole story. However, E.T.'s finger, in the movie had this like healing ability that they did to kind of appease the whole, like, this is a movie for kids thing. But in reality, the finger was like a death ray. Like whatever it touched, it would kill or like dissolve.
Right.
Which, is that true or not? It's a great story. But if it's true that he received these briefings before he went out to make these movies, that's pretty incredible. Why did the Predator story take off? Some of these movies, I feel like people are aware that there's more truth to them than just it being a cool fictional story.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, like a lot of movies are just soft disclosure. I mean, like the movie Stargate, right? That was an awesome movie. It was like,
awesome.
Yeah. And so I think that a lot of
we just watched it.
Movies are just soft.
We just talked about this with this. I always say I think this is the secret space program.
Disclosure.
Yeah, and what better way to get people off the scent of these things than to make it into something that's fictional and sort of appease people's minds around it? Once it becomes fiction, it's so hard to then prove that that thing is real.
Right,
because a lot of people don't be open-minded once they find out it's fiction. Oh, that's fake. So they're piss on me. It's all good. It's fake.
Everybody could say, oh, it's just sci-fi, those crazy ideas you're putting forth.
And in here, we've got a very interesting story. We're going to, in this podcast, go through what these dicyanin glasses or goggles are and why there may be more truth than fiction to these things actually seeing things in other dimensions. And then how the Predator movie basically was laid out and why you should probably look at that movie more like a documentary than anything else.
No.
It's going to be fun. But first of all, before we get into that, how do basically night vision goggles
of night vision goggles? I think thermal imaging.
But first of all, before we get into that, how do basically night vision goggles, the current ones that we use out there, how do they work? And you have a pair of these night vision goggles that we were using when we were down in South Washington together, right?
I mean, these guys right here. You see that? Night vision really just amplifies existing light, and it uses thermal imaging as well as captures infrared light. Just creates a situation where you can see in extremely low light conditions. It uses these amplifier tubes within it, and there are different generations of night vision goggles. I think Vietnam War would have been
Vietnam was ahead of their game.
Gen 1,
first sub 1, maybe even. They would have been very, very difficult to see through. Just a mass of green with hard to see figures, most likely. Right. Whereas Gen 3, the ones that we have the most access to on the civilian side today, are pretty nice. They're pretty sharp. I mean, you know that. They're pretty clear. You saw when we were in that deep, dark forest, pitch black in front of your eyes. Can't even see your hand in front of your face. The night vision just lit it up. And especially if you've got an IR light as well, an IR light source, you can see anything. So
I didn't even realize how bright the IR was until the night vision goggles went on, because you can't see
Yeah.
IR with your naked eye.
We have IR receptors on the edges of our vision, right?
And actually, what is IR, John, just for the folks at home?
Oh, well, it's infrared light spectrum. What are we looking at? Like 700, 900 to 900 nanometer range, in that general realm, where the eyes cannot pick up. It's not invisible light for us, but it is.
Clip that.
A light spectrum that some animals can see. Bigfoot purportedly can see into that spectrum. And that's why it doesn't step in front of trap cams, because trap cams will use an IR light to capture stuff. And, just your phone camera will pick up IR light. If you have an infrared light source, just flip on your phone camera and look through it, and you'll see that light source flashing that your eyes can't see. So, cameras in general can, especially if you take a camera and you remove the IR filter. The optics that we use for cameras do not exclude IR light. So they have to put a little filter just behind the lens in order to block that light. But if you go in and physically remove it, you've got yourself an IR camera that can pick things up that your eyes can't see. So, and this goes into the stuff that you see on the sides of your vision too,
Oh, they restricted the cameras. Ooh. They don't restrict the cameras on us. So if you remove that piece, you probably can see more that meets the eye for real. Ooh. Clip that.
It's all the same thing. And believe me, there are more of those things around us all the time than you would even begin to fathom. And we can perceive things in the corners of our eyes that are truly real things, just like IR cameras can capture. This one house, for instance, which has a portal in, I've been in that many, 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 many times. And I've seen out of the corner of my eye small figures running around, right? And since I know, yes, absolutely, you see them running. And so I trained myself to be able to pay attention to the stuff that happens in the corners of my eyes. And I can
start walking around with the IR camera. Yo, the IR camera is the portal to the. Whoa, boy, hell no, boy, that's crazy.
See things. It's like, okay, so if you're a kid, like one of the things you do when you were a kid, at least in the 80s, I don't know if kids do that now, is go out in the night, play hide and seek with your brothers and sisters and your friends, and the way you would see them, because they can hide in plain sight when it's dark, the way you can see them or any movement is by moving your eyes back and forth and catching that side vision, right? So if you move your eyes back and forth, you have a better chance of seeing clearly out of the corners of your eyes, right? And then you can see them because we've got those IR receptors right there. And when you see something in the corner of your eye moving, you are not tripping out. You're seeing into another dimension.
Yo, he just putting us on game right here, bro. Yup, man. He just showed us how to use our night vision. He just showed us how to use our night vision, y'all. Clip that.
Literally seeing these beings that are around us all of the time. So, I mean, things like this are impressive, but until you begin to actually develop this side vision, that's the most impressive thing to me.
So it's like mastering your peripheral.
Because then you don't need these types of things.
Even according to mainstream science, your peripheral vision is more sharp for urgent emergency type things. The fight or flight part of your eye is all on the peripheral, like what's coming at you from different directions. So if you can hone that or train that part of yourself, you're absolutely going to see more. And we don't even understand the parts that you're talking about, which is that if it's picking up any type of IR, then what more? What's so interesting about Generation 1 night vision is that we're going back to a time where we relied more on analog technology. And what dicyanin is basically is a dye. And I believe the dye was put in the goggles and you're looking through this dye to see what's on the other side, essentially. And so now you've got a physical substance that you're looking through, a potent physical substance, very hard to make. Right? Who was the guy that created?
That shit like witchcraft.
created the dicyanin. His name is Walter John Kilner. I'm pretty sure he was developing this technology to be able to see auras in the past. Is that true?
Yeah, he was early 1900s, late 1800s. Yeah, he was a physician, and he was.
What's going on, bro?
You know, I think his main thing was electrotherapy, right? Which, I mean, think about like medical science or science in general back at that time frame was totally different than it is now. Totally different.
And this is the time period when Mary Shelley's Frankenstein came out, when they were looking at reanimating the human body and how electricity affected the body and what it could potentially do.
Look at the predators. Try to figure out how to use their night visions to see them.
Mary Shelley's Frankenstein was this idea
in the Vietnam War.
That if you put a bunch of body parts together and you figured out how electricity ran through the body, you could reanimate it and jumpstart the brain again and create a new creature. In place of intelligence, we got the Bazaar and a monster killing everyone, which was a premonition of the future. Really, like if we do this, you're playing with fire. You're sort of playing God, and it's going to blow up in your face. But yes, so the dicyanin goggles were, the spiritual movement was really strong at that time, late 1800s, early 1900s. Everyone was very interested in the different energies of the human body. They were trying to prove that life existed after death. And if someone could develop a technology that showed the energy, showed auras, this would be a step in that direction. And we had many, many men, influential men that were fascinated with the spiritual movement at that time, right? All over the world, Britain, America, lots of people had lost loved ones during World War II. And so these technologies were, a lot of them were developed to the end of trying to prove life after death. And I think what they got in this case was a little bit more than that. They were seeing.
Like Kilner, he was legit. He worked as a British medical electrician. He wrote books and papers and stuff, but his biggest thing was the human atmosphere. A member of the Royal College of Physicians, and this was his biggest study on the human atmosphere, which is the aura. He was taking different dyes and putting them between slides. They called them the Kilner slides, because he was trying to train his eyes and others' eyes to be able to see the energy field around a person's body, because he thought it was some kind of like, I think, ultraviolet or electromagnetic or some type of radiation. So he found this substance from coal tar called dicyanin and put that between the slides. Here you have late 1800s, a very legit physician, doctor.
We're talking about the Vietnam.
Necessarily have these abilities. You'd think it was crazy if someone was talking to you about this and seeing those things in the aura. Or there was a medical doctor in Chinese history called
and understand what's happening. So he was dead on, right? Dead on with this. And then medical science just shut all those avenues off and went in a completely different direction.
You're kind of blowing my mind right now, because actually, for those of you at home that think what John's talking about is some woo-woo BS or something like that, actually, Chinese medical doctors for thousands of years have been talking about and doing what John just said. For different men across the world were using these techniques to actually find sickness in someone's body. So the idea that a substance could be rendered to see some things in other dimensions is totally possible. I mean, what is your brain but an organic substance that somehow
was what he was seeing was fun with this stuff, because what he was seeing.
Okay, I see what's going on. No. I wanted to hear like
the frequency of infrared light where there's a lot of activity happening. Like night vision and IR in general is too broad of a spectrum.
Let's see that.
During the Vietnam War, soldiers were given special night vision goggles. But there was more to it. These goggles were said to see a broader color spectrum not visible before. The story goes that soldiers started freaking out or even...
Man, come on, bro. Ain't no damn other... There you go.
Ancient legends and mythologies that have prevailed to this day, converging with our daily lives in the 21st century.
No. What is this?
Could it be that these things, far from being legends, are a reality? Let's open Rick's grimoire and
Man, playing with me. Right there.
Despite the USA being part of almost every major war in modern times, the Vietnam conflict still holds the position for the biggest and toughest challenge for the American Army yet. Unlike the European front, for which the American Marines and soldiers were trained, Vietnam offered an entirely alien territory. There was no war front to advance, no safe region to defend, not even a well-defined theater in which to operate. Vietnam War soldiers endured many hardships and faced many problems. While most of these challenges could be explained, some didn't make any sense. These inexplicable mysteries are still creeping in the minds of veterans, experts, and the historians of the Vietnam War.
I know I've heard it said that in the Second World War, the combat veteran had maybe 40 days in combat, whereas us guys in Vietnam, we had about 240 days out of our 1 year that we spent there.
Welcome to Nutty History. And today, Vietnam wasn't just unfamiliar, but it was also a daunting terrain for the American Marines. So they needed help from locals and South Vietnamese soldiers to guide them in the area of operations. Those who were not sympathetic toward the Viet Cong's cause or didn't know any better were willing to help the Marines through the difficult topography of Vietnam. But even for them, some parts of those dark, dense forests were too much.
I bet. Oh boy, that a big spider? What the hell? Why hell no.
These locals would talk of creatures unnatural and terrifying that were not meant to be confronted. These people were talking of phantoms, reanimated corpses, and flying shadows. Of course, the Marines didn't take any of that into account and shrugged off the warnings, considering them third world folklores. But
that showed scary ass, so we still going out here until they fucked around and find out.
Going into the action, it all became very real, very fast. The woods of Vietnam challenged the sanity of the American troops. The heat, the humidity, the dark woods, the psychological warfare with the Viet Cong forced them to face uncharted stress, anxiety, and terror of war like never before. Moreover, opium was spreading through the American troops like wildfire. Being hopped up and marching through haunting woods did no favor to the Marines. There were reports of ghostly figures moving paranormally through the trees. More reports featured fanged humanoids with black eyes that would try to abduct unsuspecting troops. Scared out of their wits, certain soldiers
or was it with the ops probably just dressed up like zombies just to get their dumb ass?
Complained about beasts that were seemingly bulletproof. Men of the U.S. 1st Marine Division testified of encountering a giant woman with bat-like wings and skin black as a shadow. Earl Morrison, who witnessed the creature as close as 10 feet while on night duty, said that the winged woman emitted a strange glow as it came closer to the men before flying away from the camp. Some believe that the fear of these creatures was the cause behind the American military using Agent Orange and napalm instead of manned incursions into the woods. Since the triple cannon...
They try to say they was the chemicals messed up their whole... They started singing shit, they drugged them up. But what if that's the way? See, you know how the people be on acid and mushrooms, be like, oh, you start singing shit. Why do you start singing shit though? Like, if you smoke weed, I don't see shit. You feel what I'm saying? But if you take shrooms acid, you start seeing shit. Why do you start seeing shit? So it's another portal to open your mind to see more shit than the 3D world.
Jungle kept the sunlight from hitting them. There was no telling what time of day it was in the woods. For Marines, the Vietnam War was always fought in darkness, and so shadows easily found ways to scare the living daylights out of soldiers.
Flying Tiger.
Flight 739 disappeared somewhere between Guam and the Philippines on March 16, 1962, and there was never a trace found. There was no wreckage, no records, and after 2 months of no clue of the whereabouts of the plane, the 107 passengers of the concerned flight were declared deceased. Now you must be wondering how that connects back to the Vietnam War. Families of the victims that were aboard the missing plane claimed that the 107 men on the unfortunate flight were soldiers deployed to the Vietnam War. Interestingly, the official record of the flight states that the plane has nothing to do with the war effort, and until now there haven't been any word from any official government department confirming that the men on board had anything to do with any military mission. The government
So the families are lying?
files do validate that some of the men on the vanished flight were either communication advisors or supply sergeants, but family members of the victims claim otherwise.
So sergeants aren't part of a war?
They point to a list of hand-picked mission members that were assembled from military bases across the country. Also, certain files about the passengers and the flight that were given to the family members of the victims were heavily redacted. The report by the Civil Aeronautics Board claims that the plane was in fact heading for Saigon. It had no cargo, and it was carrying 93 Americans, 3 personnel from South Vietnam's military, and the rest were the crew. The eerie element of the incident is that there was never a distress signal. Nobody from the plane tried to establish radio communication, and there was no report of anything ominous either. The plane just stopped responding. A Liberian tanker reported an explosion that they witnessed along the plane's flight path. But an investigation found no crash site, no sign of an explosion, no remains, and no sign of disturbance at all.
So Liberians are lying?
The family members of the missing soldiers have been trying to get the names of victims on the Vietnam Memorial Wall in Washington. But eerily, the authorities have been silent on the subject matter.
Flight 739 was scheduled with 2 flight crews, a captain, first officer, second officer, 2 flight engineers, and 2 navigators, 4 cabin crew, and they had 96 passengers. For a flight
So all these people lying.
from Travis Air Force Base in California to Saigon in South Vietnam. 93 of the passengers were jungle-trained Army Rangers, primarily highly trained in electronics and communications. The other 3 were members of the Armed Forces of Vietnam. The flight crew, 5 men and 4 women, were all civilians.
The outcome of the Vietnam War might have been starkly different if a certain Trinh Minh Tay would have survived a sniper's attempt in 1955.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about, the Predator. I'm about Predator Alien.
They're in the
Oh, it says veteran. Maybe if I keep watching so-and-so, that one might push up.
Welcome, everyone, to our first dive into a conspiracy in the dark corners of military history.
Okay.
We've all seen footage from the Vietnam War, tangled jungles, Huey helicopters overhead, and soldiers trudging through swamps. But what if there's a chapter of that war no one wants to talk about? A chapter filled with flying demons, reanimated corpses, and experimental night vision goggles that may have allowed soldiers to see things beyond our reality. Sounds insane? Maybe so, but the stories are out there. As I'm sure many of you will know, the standard night vision goggles we're familiar with from TV and other media have a distinct green hue. But way back in Vietnam, some soldiers were given unique red light night vision goggles. Now, as the stories go, multiple soldiers reported seeing the same demonic flying creatures swooping through the trees while wearing these night vision goggles, even while in so-called safe zones. Some of them freaked out so badly they opened fire.
I don't see nothing about no predators. I keep seeing the being with the wings. So at least it's like, you know, it's showing something, like the goggles showing interdimensional beings. But I know for a fact the predators, I just want to look for a video talking about it. I might have to go back to the interview.
On these apparitions, blasting away at these demonic beings that apparently shrugged off bullets. Command considered these men mentally unstable and discharged them with PTSD. Then, in a hush-hush move, the red goggles were allegedly yanked from service and buried. So, what's the official explanation? Some claim the red goggles used an experimental chemical composition of phosphorus. Over time, it may have seeped out, causing hallucinations reminiscent of a bad LSD trip. If that sounds wild, well, maybe it is. But it's important to remember that plenty of veterans have allegedly sued the military for mind-altering.
Okay. I gotta go back to the thing.
Even losing their minds because what
getting. If you could
have some type of analog tubes, and they must have experimented with those types of slides. If that's the case, and let's say they were using 3 different types of goggles to see which were the most effective, because oftentimes the military will do things like that.
The timestamp.
At least one of them could have had the dicyanin in it, and they realized that it was driving soldiers insane because they were seeing things in other dimensions that they should not be seeing. Or even scarier, they got the reports from Kilner, and they did it anyway.
I mean, I've seen tons of orbs flying around, and I know the orb is it sort of a generalization. It's the impact of something from another dimension breaching our dimension, and what our instruments, as well as sometimes our eyes, can perceive about that
maintenance experience and suitability of the Department of the Army basis of issue. The evaluation disclosed that they
don't mention anything about. I mean, I don't doubt that goggles they were, because remote viewers describe
troops that have taken like prisoners of war. But what they're finding along the way is that there are these like flayed people that they're finding in the forest that they're finding really confused and that they're really confused about. And they're like, wow, these guerrillas are really evil. We need to take these guys out, right? As you're going in the movie, these are very, very good trackers. They're very good warriors. They're finding that something is in the woods. They're feeling something in the woods looking at them. And because they're really smart guys and they know what to look for, they become more and more aware and even start to break down a little bit because of what they're seeing. And what's interesting is instead of it being the US military that's wearing these goggles, you have the line of sight from the predator itself has these weird infrared or thermal that you're seeing. Less technologically savvy version of that, which was a really kind of interesting twist on that whole thing. These Army guys are seeing it and they're becoming more and more crazy as they go. And they're really confused about it. And they're like, wow, these are down. Yeah. And if you think about now, just where we're at in this conversation, if we review exactly what the Predator movie, the breakdown of the Predator movie and how it told the story, it gets really interesting because we've got a little bit of a reversal on how the story is told. But the first thing that the story does is it qualifies the soldiers in the movie. You know, Arnold Schwarzenegger's team is the best at what they do. They're going into Vietnam to save a person of importance in the U.S. military who has been taken by these guerrilla armies. It's a very dangerous situation. His is the only team that can handle that. Something is in the woods. They're feeling something because of what they're seeing. And what's interesting is a really kind of interesting twist on that whole thing. These Army guys are seeing it and they're becoming more and more crazy as they go. and they're seeing all of their guys around them who are the best warriors on the planet all getting killed by this thing. All that something is in the woods. They're feeling something in the woods looking at them. And because they're really smart guys and they know. And what's interesting is instead of it being the US military that's wearing these goggles, you have the line of sight from the predator itself has these weird infrared or thermal that you're seeing. Less technologically savvy version of that, which was a really kind of interesting twist on that whole thing. These Army guys are seeing it and they're becoming more and more crazy as they go. And they're seeing all of their guys around them who are the best warriors on the planet all getting killed by this thing, all leading up to Arnold Schwarzenegger's character realizing that this thing is seeing in thermal, and he knows that he needs to cool his body down, so he puts mud all over his body, and he realizes this is the way to camouflage himself from this predator, and then is able to actually fight on equal ground with him because he's sort of neutralized the main weapon that this guy had, which was that he's looking at this in thermal and going after them.
So here's
ooh, boy, that's crazy, man. But yeah, that's how they seen Predator. Clip that.
Literally where people will now hear a story current time and they will go, oh, well, that's sci-fi. It's from that movie, right? But what about that Ducks Unlimited interview? I mean, this is a mainstream group, and they've got a podcast. They're talking about a hunter friend who's got a thermal scope. This guy's looking through the thermal scope, and there's something on the side of a tree or wherever in the forest that is looking at him. You remember this story?
Yes.
Yeah. This is stuff that people are running into because I've heard multiple stories from people of seeing things in the side of a tree or wherever in the forest interview. I mean, this is a mainstream group, and they've got a podcast. They're talking about a hunter friend who's got a thermal scope. This guy's looking through the thermal scope, and there's something on the side of a tree or wherever in the forest that is looking at him. You remember this story?
Yes.
Yeah. This is stuff that people are running into because I've heard multiple stories from people of seeing things in the woods that are predator-like, that more or less they can see through some type of equipment, through thermal, through IR, that exists out there that they can't see with their naked eye.
Well, and
It just taught us how to see predator, go in the forest, turn on an IR, and just walk around. Clip that.
Think about it. The predator doesn't look like a normal alien.
Right.
It looks like a demon with technology.
Right.
It's got this like crazy, like disgusting looking face.
I mean, what do you think an alien looks like? I mean, they can look like us, but they can look like this as well. He could be smiling right now.
Like bizarre demon-like hair. It just has this like crazy.
Bitch! What you mean? Clip that.
The technology stuff. So they sort of merged these two ideas together. The director had to have gotten that story from somewhere and then took liberty.
So you can go on YouTube to Wartime Stories. Wartime Stories is a great YouTube channel, where he takes stories from Vietnam and other wars, or what has happened to military people, regular stories, as well as a ton of paranormal. And I do believe that there are stories surrounding this type of stuff within some of the telling on that channel.
Let's see. Info later. Subscribe, brother.
Not all movies feel like that to me. Like, you go watch that stupid movie Jupiter Ascending, and you're like, the last thing I want to see is Channing Tatum ice skating through space. It's like some of this stuff is ridiculous, and obviously that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when a story is a little too close for comfort, as if the director or someone else.
Okay, let's go on to the next one. Yeah, we'll go on to the next one. Let's hit up the Reddit. Let's hit up the Reddit. I'm sorry here. Let's see what this is. Dr. Jack Valet. Steven Spielberg's Close Encounter of the Third Kind. Let's see, yeah.
For the French UFO researcher. And
oh, no, I need to put it on the screen. Oh, it's already on there.
Dr. Jacques Vallée was the inspiration for the French UFO researcher in Steven Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
N'avez-vous pas fait récemment une rencontre?
Have you recently had a close encounter?
In real life, Dr. Vallée conducted sober scientific research on the phenomenon.
We know now that there is no simple answer.
For decades, he met with witnesses and traveled the globe gathering evidence, ultimately creating the first database on the UFO subject.
Mr. Chairman, all the great nations of the world are represented on this committee. Let us keep in mind that the UFO phenomenon may represent an even greater reality.
Vallée also consulted with scientific,
Vallée the truth, ain't he?
Military and government officials, including Project Blue Book's top science advisor, Dr. J. Allen Hynek.
I began my work as scientific consultant for the United States Air Force as an open skeptic.
Hynek.
This is who Steven Spielberg was getting his information for his movie from. Look it up, I swear to God.
Hynek was a university astronomer with a high security clearance when the Air Force recruited him to investigate UFOs.
And it so happened when the Air Force got the job of trying to figure out what some of these strange flying saucer stories were about, well, they needed an astronomer to see how many of the reports could possibly be explained as meteors and twinkling stars and planets.
The two scientists became close colleagues, with Hynek entrusting Vallée to index the reams of Blue Book files scattered throughout Hynek's home. It was there that Vallée made a chance discovery of a letter so secret he had to appeal to the chief counsel of the Senate Defense Appropriations Committee to get it declassified.
Woo! Goddamn, that's a whole lot of secrecy.
That document changed my life. It taught me that the subject had been taken much more seriously than anybody thought.
The document revealed an ultra-secret, highly funded scientific investigation, working parallel to Blue Book, unknown to all but a select few.
Of course. Of course.
The letter was signed by H.C. Cross, Director of Exotic Metallurgy at Battelle National Laboratories.
Phenomenal. Okay, well, dang. Hold on, I think this is DMC. This is DMC. That's that's it. I can't do that. I can't play that. They gonna, yeah, they gonna fuck me up. Two stationary orbs. What this one is? That's Orbit and what the heck is? So I came across this right here on Reddit, right? This right here on the Reddit thing. Too many researchers still have. Where's that? We're just gonna go from here with it. Bill Maher on real-time disclosure. We're at the disclosure moment in human history, so we can just cut the crap. They're here. Get used to it. Bill Maher. Let's listen to Bill Maher, y'all.
Given the increasing number in recent years of sightings by serious military personnel of unknown aircraft operating outside our current abilities, if at this point you don't believe aliens are here and observing us, maybe you're the conspiracy theorist. Well, look, my opinion changes when the information changes. But now they seem to be on to another phase. They seem to want to be spotted. Why else this constant playing peekaboo with our military? And it's serious.
Peekaboo! UFO, I see you, peekaboo.
Serious people now who are saying that they keep seeing things
say?
playing peekaboo with our military. And it's serious people now who are saying that they keep seeing things move through air and ocean in ways that defy our physics.
Real serious people now.
Military pilots who say, yeah, I saw something doing Mach 10 and then it stopped on a dime and disappeared. That's not a drone. That's not something from another country. Hellfire missile at a high risk had historic first-of-its-kind hearings on what the Defense Department calls unidentified aerial phenomenon. It's not weirdos and beardos saying this. It's the guys with buzz cuts and security clearances who are spilling the tea, and politicians who you don't think are crazy people like Chuck Schumer, Harry Reid, Marco Rubio, Kirsten Gillibrand. They're not disputing it. Jimmy Carter said he saw a UFO. George W. Bush said, yeah, there are secrets about aliens, and no, I won't tell you. Barack Obama recently made headlines when he said aliens, quote, are real, but I haven't seen them.
Clip that.
2 years ago, one of our drones launched a Hellfire missile at a high-speed orb, and it hit it and just bounced off. In 1967, an Air Force captain hit it and just bounced, launched a Hellfire missile at a high-speed orb, and it hit it and just bounced off. Headlines when he said aliens, quote, are real, but I haven't seen them. 2 years ago, one of our drones launched a Hellfire missile at a high-speed orb, and it hit it and just bounced off.
It just bounced.
In 1970, a high-speed orb, and it hit it and just bounced off.
Just bounced off. Just bounced. Clip that.
In 1967, an Air Force captain and nuclear crew commander who were there revealed an incident when something unidentifiable hovered over Maelstrom Air Base in Montana, and then miraculously 10 nuclear weapons suddenly became disabled. Was something about to go terribly wrong and you stepped in? After all, if you wanted us dead, we'd be dead already. Truth is, you may be here to save us, not kill us. And Steven Spielberg's movie called Disclosure Day comes out. This on the heels of the documentary from last year called Age of Disclosure. You get it? Disclosure? We're at
I was trying to put y'all on that last year.
the disclosure moment in human history. So can we cut the crap? They're here. Get used to it.
Clip that. Get used to it, y'all. They're here. Get used to it. They're here. Bill Maher know what you're talking about. So who's next down the list? We're going to go down the list for another one.
And when I looked down at my body, I didn't have a body. It was only light. It was a light. And the beings that were in these layers of white light. And when I looked down at my body, I didn't have a body. It was only light. It was a light. And the beings that were in these layers of white light were the same. And it was like I had ears and like I had a head, like I had eyes, and And when I looked down at my body, I didn't have a body. It was only light. It was a light. And the beings that were in these layers of white light were the same. And it was like I had ears and like I had a head, like I had eyes. And I saw way at the top of this little funnel this beautiful, magnificent ball of light. And it was like when in the past, in the old days, when the television program went out at midnight, there was all of this crackly energy, only this was a ball of light and energy field that was like diamonds and jewels, and it pulsated, it swirled, it pulsated, and it went from all the beautiful hues and colors that exist, almost colors that even don't exist in our earthly world.
Yeah, she's making a very vivid description.
It was so bright and brilliant, and yet I could look right straight into this light. And there were beings there that said, "We know that you know where you're going." And with that, I shot right to the center of this magnificent ball of light above me, just like a catapult. And there I was in the center of this beautiful, beautiful, magnificent light.
The ancient Egyptian description of the human soul after life is identified with light. So it is literally a luminous body that we take on after this life. The ancient Greeks, who take after the ancient Egyptians, have their own concept called the Okima, described as the luminous immortal vehicle of the soul.
Different story, same meaning.
It was a total immersion in light, brightness, warmth, peace, security. It just immediately went into this beautiful, bright light. It's something which becomes you and you become it. I could say that I was peace. I was love. I was the brightness. It was part of me.
Do you guys think it was probably a feeling he was feeling upon the encounter because of the being? It was a benevolent being? Or do you think the extraterrestrial being used mind tricks and played telepathy to make a human feel, instead of scared, feel loved and feel like everything's okay, to bring down their guards? Remember, it's chess, not checkers. Disclosure Day, watch that movie.
I had no recollection of anything, anything biological. It's not like you could see something, because your sight is biological. It's necessary here. A hearing is necessary here. A speech is necessary here. It's not there. You just know.
Clip that.
You're all-knowing. Everything is a part of you, and it's just so beautiful. It was eternity. It's like I was always there, and I will always be there.
And I watched what I can only best describe as a sunset, but it wasn't a sunset like you've seen here on Earth. What I was watching was a living, breathing ball of energy that was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. It was bright white light, but it was colorful, but it wasn't blinding.
You see how everybody having the same experience about this, right?
But it was the brightest thing I've ever seen. It didn't have a face. It was a literal orb of pulsing, breathing, living energy.
I was traveling through what looked like deep space, moving past light that was blurring by at, as you had described, breakneck speed. And in the distance, I was seeing a giant light. But it didn't take long to start recognizing in the distance, as I'm moving at a hugely fast speed, this huge ball of light. and it looked white at first. Only
because they're not moving fast. Your body, physical body, is not moving itself. It's your astral body, your spirit, shall we say? That's what's leaving, going or something like that.
Only white, but I was moving to it, and it's getting closer and closer and bigger and bigger. The light was not painful to look at. It should have been, because it was brighter than the sun. But something had changed in my eyes, or something had changed in the light. But I could look at this, and all it did was invite me in, and it was warm and inviting. I could see in front of this light, where it went upward and outward in every direction, millions upon millions of people and angelic beings worshiping and praising God. But this wasn't like they had to. It wasn't like they were required to fulfill some duty. This was an expression of who they were and what they were created to be.
The light just poured completely in, and I went straight into that light.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I want to say it's like, oh, it's good aliens, but you can't wear your heart on your sleeve in situations like this. And you gotta understand we're dealing with advanced beings. So with that being said, like, you know how people on Earth want to play telepathy, trick, or mind games and shit. Everybody's having the same experience and everything like that. Like, this could be a way to just bring your guard down. So that way they bring you up there and they do their test on you. And next thing you know, you're part of a hybrid, being programmed type thing. Or I could be wrong. They probably could be benevolent. I could be wrong, but I'm just gotta keep open mind.
The light was, it seemed like it was an infinite magnet. It was an insatiably irresistible infinite magnet. It naturally attracted me out of the body and rapidly propelled somehow toward the light. Within the light, I'm not sure it was a tunnel or whatever it was, but I went boom. At such a high rate of speed, the faster I shot toward this light, the more my heart opened.
Because it's not your physical body itself, it's your astral body, your spirit that's going zoom. Remember I said that, it's going zoom. Clip that.
As my heart opened, I experienced infinite love. Within the light, there was intelligence. And within the intelligence, there were sentient beings.
My body's sort of this opaque thing. I'm sort of floating through space. I'm coming into this presence of this white light. It's like life. That's the only way I could interpret it. I wasn't afraid. I felt absolutely safe. My body was, when I looked at it, it was almost kind of see-through, but I felt okay. And I found myself focusing on this light that I was coming into the center of, that I was merging with, if you will. I couldn't see anybody, but there was a personality in the presence of this light.
I felt a presence of some sort around me. And that presence slowly coalesced in front of me into light. I just experienced...
Everybody's having the same experience, bro. This is really interesting.
This incredible, loving light. And it was fascinating. I was just in awe of it because there wasn't anything outside of it. That light contained the universe. It contained all the phenomena and non-phenomena. There wasn't anything that wasn't that light. And the only way I could perceive it was for it to differentiate. There was nothing outside of it. It wasn't like space that we know because it holds objects together. There just was no thing, no time, no space, no nothing. And so it had to create an illusion of separation for me to experience it as I started merging with the light. And in that mergence, I noticed that my body started becoming the light and becoming the infinite.
Dissolving into light is Taoism. Dissolving into light at the point of absolute mastery, known as feather transformation, in parentheses, Yahuwah, or ascension, the immortal sheds their physical corpse like a cicada shell. The immortal sheds their physical corpse like a cicada shell. Correct me if I pronounce cicada or cicada wrong. They dissolve their consciousness into a pure yang energy, becoming radiant, gravity-defying entities, completely othered from physical constraints. Taoism. Clip that.
And that was pretty cool. I kept merging with it, and to the point my consciousness also started merging with it. And I would move far enough into the light that I recognized that if I moved any further, Jim would disappear. That the act of a separate awareness would just totally disappear.
And then I found myself in front of a light. The light was like about 1,000 suns blazing at the same time, but it was not hurting the eyes. I felt unconditional love, like I talk about.
It's like the story's on repeat, but it's just everybody's having their different encounter, but it's the same play.
I could see love, I could hear love, I could touch love, I could taste love, and I could smell love. It was love all around.
It was love all around. Oh, wow. Clip that.
Hard to describe it. The best word I have come to describe it, the word I felt, was a Sanskrit word, Shanti, which means cosmic peace, cosmic harmony, and bliss. And when I was in the presence of the light,
Shanti, the Shanti.
The light being talked to me without talking.
And I floated toward this light, this amazing, beautiful, peaceful, loving, all-encompassing, and unconditional light. You really can't express it in human words because it completely limits the experience, and there are no human words to express it. I say it's more of an emotion than it is a word. And I started to go towards the light, and I describe it as when I burst into the light and I was all encompassed into the light. It's sort of like when you're being born. As an infant, you come out and all of a sudden you're inundated with light.
One gains a new body by going through a new womb, is the metaphor that the Egyptians used. This reincarnation process known as metempsychosis, to be reborn on a higher realm. They called this metaphorical womb Nut and Taweret, which were interchangeable because they both served the same purpose of giving the human a new light body.
Way up through space, and I felt like I was going through galaxy and galaxy. It felt like there was this knock way up, and then all of a sudden, just like that, I am suspended in this white light. I look around, I don't see me. I feel just like me, and you don't have to turn around because there's no you. And it would be like if this room was white floor, white walls, white ceiling, but in the middle is all white light. And we don't experience that here on Earth.
That's crazy. That's interesting. That's beautiful. That's beautiful in a crazy way.
See,
I mean, like, when I say crazy, I don't mean like, I don't think they're crazy at all. Hell no, I believe everything. I don't like using the word believe, but I believe everything. I think everything they're telling is the truth. I just say crazy as a slang term. But yeah, that's dope. This is just beautiful.
The top of the tunnel, I guess we could call it, this extreme bright light. Extreme. And then all of a sudden I was there. So I get into this bright light and I'm stunned with the brightness of it. So it was like a blue-white light. And within that white light are also silvers, and like there's a lot of depth to that white light. It's not just a color. Then there were people. And the best way I can explain the people coming out of the light were if you've ever been to a football game and those really large lights that they all have up there, you take every single one of those lights and you put them ground level, stacked on top of each other.
That's different. That's dope. I like that. That's a dope video right there. What else we got? So pilots are being trained at Peterson Space Base Airport. Pilots are being trained at Peterson Space Force Base to stop UFOs from entering the planet. There's a new war-fighting vehicle that is launched by a rocket into orbit, and it has the war-fighting capacity to be mobile in space and stop UFO entrance into our planet. So why are we stopping UFO entrance into our planet, first of all? Are we doing intergalactic war? Are we going through an intergalactic war in the 3D world? What are we doing? Are we about to fuck around and find out? Why are you not?
A new there is a new warfighting vehicle that is launched with by a rocket, is launched into orbit, and it has warfighting capacity to be able to be mobile in space. Okay, and they've been assigned specifically to interdict and stop UFO entrance into our planet. Okay, and now you say, now that's a fool's errand. Perhaps.
That's a straight up. That's what is it? This is, you fuck around, you're gonna find out. That's exactly what this is.
Perhaps, but on the other hand, so are a lot of the other things that they're doing. How about bombing Iran? How about deploying a third of our entire carrier force into the Mediterranean or in surrounding Iran? I mean, these are all fool's errands.
These are advanced beings, you fucking idiot.
And this operation is going on right now, okay? And that they're training the pilots out there at Peterson Air Force Base, or excuse me, Space Force Base. That these are combatant pilots now that are being deployed to track down and interdict and intercept these UFOs.
No, they're gonna get interdicted.
Because that's what they think their job is. They think that's the assignment that they've been given, and that's ridiculous. And because I've never taken any security clearance, and I haven't taken any non-disclosure agreements, I'm perfectly free to tell people about that. Now, this may be giving willies to people going, "Oh no, he's talking about military deployment operations." This is
Did he say yo?
This is treasonous in some sort. It's not treasonous. This is deployment operations. This is treasonous in some sort. It's not treasonous at all. That I am more loyal to the Constitution of the United States than any of these other people are, because they.
He said, "I ain't fucking with y'all dumbass motherfuckers. Y'all niggas stupid as hell. Talking about saying warship to UFO. Yep. Get ready, guys. We're about to go through they about to come and do an alien invasion for real. If what he's saying is legit, we're getting ready for alien invasion. Cause we pressing the red button. You know how folks are like, don't touch it, don't do that, 3D human. You can't do. Don't no.
They've taken an oath to something else. They've taken an oath to superior command gatekeepers. All right.
Clip that. That's crazy. That's fucking. They. I don't know what the hell they doing. What the hell wrong with these folks? I lost their goddamn mind. Saying warship with the UFO. What the hell you think about fight? What you think about who you think about? It's really like the movie Idiocracy. I swear. Let's go this guy right here.
I'd love to get your opinion on the declassified UAP files we've gotten in the last few years, just because I think you're an interesting person to talk about that.
It's a big deal. I'm an active consultant on all of that stuff right now with the U.S. government, and it's just the beginning. I think we should get some of that in the show. I do remember we talked about a lot of Bigfoot ideas in this show, and but the UFO stuff, I think that'd be a really good idea as well. I think there's a lot of places we can go with the show, but yes, as far as that topic, yeah, there's a lot more coming. This is just beginning.
Holy crap, that's cool.
This is just beginning, of course. We need more than orbs. But now I'm kind of more interested about the orbs. Not from like the government release file, just in infrared, but from what civilized people been talking. Boy, that shit crazy. 5 reasons. What's this one?
Bob Lazar says he worked at a secret site near Area 51. He says he helped study craft that were not made by humans. For decades, people have asked one question: was Bob Lazar telling the truth? This video is not saying we know the final answer. It is asking a narrower question. How much of his story can be independently verified? Here are 5 reasons. Many researchers still...
So, Bob Lazar Cap? Was he Cap? Nah, he wasn't Cap.
Have serious doubts. Reason 1, the education problem. Bob Lazar has said he earned a master's degree in physics from MIT. He has also said he earned a second master's degree from Caltech. Those are major claims. A degree from either school should leave a serious trail. A transcript, a graduation record, a thesis, a professor, a classmate, a yearbook entry, something. Stanton T. Friedman was not a person who dismissed every UFO case. He was a nuclear physicist and a long-time UFO researcher. He believed some UFO reports deserved serious investigation. But when Friedman looked into Lazar's education claims, he said he could not verify MIT or Caltech attendance. Friedman said he found evidence that Lazar attended Pierce College in California, but he said he found no evidence for MIT, no verified degree, no clear academic record, no professors or classmates. Who could confirm Lazar's account?
I did a lot of checking on Bob. I tried to meet with him twice. I was supposed to on one occasion, and he didn't go along. I checked at MIT. I checked at Caltech. Neither one ever heard of him. Well, but the government wiped his records clean is the response. I talked to the legal counsel at
Government can't wipe your record clean.
MIT. No way to do that. I talked with the guy who has the degree.
Oh, he said no way to do that.
Well, but the government wiped his records clean is the response. I talked to the legal counsel at MIT. No way to do that. I talked with the guy who has the degrees, the commencement lists and all that sort of thing. No mention of Lazar. None of the yearbooks show Lazar. You need it for a master's thesis, for a master's degree, you need a thesis. I talked to the guy who holds those. No Lazar, him there. He was asked publicly, when did you get your master's from MIT? Well, let me see now. I think it was, probably 1982. I have friends who went to MIT. I was accepted there myself, couldn't afford to go out of high school. And nobody who gets a master's degree in physics from MIT doesn't know what year he got it in. He was asked to name some of his professors. Well, let's see now. He named somebody, Bill, somebody, I won't use his name on the air. I checked on him. It was not a common name, fortunately.
Respectfully, I don't remember all my professors. I remember a couple of them, but yeah.
He was a physicist. The only trouble is, Bob said he would remember him from Caltech. This individual, Bill, never taught at Caltech. He only taught at Pierce Junior College. Now, Bob himself had mentioned Pierce to me on the phone. He did go there. Now, that's in Southern California, and he was going there at the same time that he was supposedly attending MIT, 2,500 miles east of there. One heck of a commute. If you can go to MIT, you don't go to Pierce Junior College. But beyond that, I checked with his high school. He finished in the bottom third of his high school class. You can't get into MIT if you're outside, usually the top 10, 15, 20% of your class. Bottom third.
That does not prove every word Lazar said is false.
Right.
Records can be incomplete. People can disappear from database.
Exactly. So, I kind of still stand behind that government wiping records, because why would the legal team even know if the records wiped? The legal team ain't the government, unless it's MIT government legal, which I don't know.
But this is not just any claim. Lazar says he studied at 2 of the most famous science schools in the world.
Yeah.
And after decades, the evidence for those degrees still has not been publicly confirmed. That matters because Lazar's story depends heavily on people believing he had the advanced physics background needed for the job he says he had. Reason 2, what was his actual role around classified facilities? One of the strongest points in Lazar's favor is that his name appeared in a Los Alamos directory.
Oh, I checked with Los Alamos. He is in the phone book there. Doesn't that prove that he was a scientist working there? No, it certainly doesn't prove he was a scientist. But if you look at the phone book page, up at the very top, it says, this phone book for employees of the Los Alamos National Laboratory, the Department of Energy, Kirk Meyer Corporation, several other companies. Right after Bob's name, and he was only in one phone book issue. They issue them every several months. It says K/M. That's Kirk Meyer, a subcontractor. He worked out at the Maison facility. Don't need a clearance for that. people come in from all over the world, physicists, to do it.
I'll say, like, he could be a subcontractor working as a scientist. Like, that's not proving he's cap.
Experiments, and he was a technician working out there. And the story goes on and on beyond that. And I get people telling me, well, I don't see why you don't believe him. He seems so sincere. Sincerity is not a check on truth.
And a newspaper article from 1982 described
That may be so, but it sounds like you got a personal vendetta against Lazar.
him as a physicist working at Los Alamos. So yes, there is evidence that Lazar had a connection to Los Alamos. But the important question is this: what was his job? Was he a staff physicist or working directly for Los Alamos, or was he working through a contractor in a more limited role? Christopher Mellon is a former senior defense intelligence official. He has argued that UAP reports should be taken seriously. He is not saying every strange sighting is nonsense, but on Joe Rogan, Mellon discussed Bob Lazar and shared an alternative account he had heard. The account was that Lazar may have checked radiation badges. Mellon was careful. He did not say he had personally proved that story. He said it was information he had heard from someone else.
I found his explanations curious.
Yeah. How so?
The complexity of it, and the fact that he talked about Laurentium, for example, and then decades later, it turns out that apparently there is a more stable form of that than
That's element 115.
sounds right. I couldn't tell you for
But
sure.
it's called Laurentium.
Laurentium.
That sounds like something from Battlestar Galactica. You know, we need the
This all
Laurentium
this
to
stuff
power
takes
the
you
ship.
into that,
Yeah.
right?
Solve it.
So now I'm a little skeptical about his claims, I have to say. A friend of mine claims to know the gal who was his supervisor when he worked out there and knows what he was actually doing and where he was located, and claims that that he was a guy who checked radiation on badges.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so all the rest is fiction.
According to that story.
And this is a person that you know?
Yeah.
Maybe
That distinction matters. We should not say Bob Lazar was a bad checker as if it is proven. It is not proven. But Mellon's comments raise a fair question. Was Lazar...
So I'm saying, like, we still need document proof. This is just still he say, she say.
are really selected to reverse engineer a craft with technology beyond modern science, or did he have much more ordinary role around a classified site? Working near a secret facility does not automatically mean you worked on its biggest secrets. Reason 3, the verification problem. Bob Lazar's central claim is not small. He says he worked at a hidden site called S4. He says he saw multiple craft. He says the craft used a stable form of element 115. He says the technology could manipulate gravity. That would be one of the biggest discoveries in human history. So the evidence should be extraordinary. Not.
But how would it be extraordinary if it's hidden in secrecy? That's what you're not understanding. You know, you're just saying that, like, if that's the case, and you might as well put all the secret services, all secret missions, secret operations on public. Like, you know, this is just coming from, I don't know, this sounds like it's coming from a jealous standpoint for me. I don't think Bob's cap.
Because people are close-minded, because the claim is enormous. What independent evidence has confirmed the central story? There is no publicly verified record showing Lazar worked at S4. There is no verified document showing he was assigned to reverse engineer work. There is no confirmed craft, no confirmed sample of the material he described, no independent witness who can publicly confirm working beside him on the alleged program. Now, supporters of Lazar have an answer. They say this.
My thing is, if he's like moving in secrecy, like, you know, he's moving under secrecy under the government, like you said, when the government wiped his record completely, why would his record be out in the public? That's like, you know, that's the fuck I'm not understanding.
Is exactly what you would expect from a deeply classified program. The records would have been hidden.
No, that's not what I deeply expect from a classified program, bro. Really read your script. The AI bullshit.
This would have been silent. The evidence would have been locked away. That is possible, but it creates a problem. If every missing piece of evidence can be explained by secrecy, then the claim becomes impossible to independently test.
If every piece of evidence could be explained by secrecy,
and a claim that cannot be tested cannot be. Every missing piece of evidence can be explained by secret. The Tsar have an answer.
What he
They
just
say
said?
that from a deeply classified program. The Tsar have an answer would have been hidden. The witness would have been silent. The evidence would have been locked away. That is possible, but it creates a problem. If every missing piece of evidence can be explained by secrecy, then the claim becomes impossible to independently test, and a claim that cannot be tested cannot be confirmed. That is not proof that the
That's I mean, that's the whole purpose of secrecy. You're not supposed to confirm or not confirm it. You dumbass.
story is false. It is the reason the story remains unproven. If you're still with me, like this video and subscribe. If you want more UAP videos that separate the evidence from the excitement. Reason 4.
If y'all want to watch the rest of this video, y'all goes here in news. Leave science. You know, bada bing, bada boom. But yeah, that's it for tonight, guys. We did almost 3 hours tonight. Wow. Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. But yeah, guys, we did it. It was a good stream. I enjoyed it. Good little chat. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Like always, Matrix. Ra-ta-ta-ta.